Good evening, everybody. I'm Mr. McKnight. I will be your student's World History 2 teacher this year. If you take a moment and hit pause on your device, you could read a little bit about who I am, where I'm from, and some of the things that I like. All right, welcome back. So as you can see, I'm a Birds fan. I know I'm in the land of the Commanders, but it's go Birds to the end. So some of the things that your students going to learn about, we're working on modern world history, and that begins with industrialization and imperialism. That is our first unit. We're going to make our way through the first world wars. We're going to end with globalization. Now, here's just a few class expectations. Of course, with everything in life, we have to abide and adhere so that we can be the best people that we can possibly be. And it starts with us being on time. Secondly, and just as important as the first, is that we're using our technology responsibly. No phones will be used unless otherwise approved. Sometimes we do use them if there's something really quick and we don't have our devices out. Just make sure for number 3 that you're not answering the door without getting permission from myself or my co-teacher, because safety is first for us. And then the rest of the rules are just really pretty much formalities like everything else. Remain quiet, be respectful, treat everybody with respect no matter what. Try best. That's one that really is really important to me, to try best and be open to learn something new every day. And lastly, just always follow DCPS rules. And so just to go over our daily procedure, and I took the time to take some pictures for you guys to see kind of how my class flows. Let's make sure that when the students come in, they grab their do now sheets. They grab their binder from whatever class they're in. This is where we submit our assignments. They then go on to read the agenda for the day to see what we're doing. If they're working on something from a previous class, they get to work on that. In that beginning, we have this thing called a do now that was here. You should be finishing that because we're going to review it. Students should grab their work for the day, which is typically some notes as well as some classwork. If anybody's absent or they just can't seem to remember what's going on, the daily procedures are written on the board. And you can see here, if you go ahead and hit pause, this is that daily procedure that I was talking about in a written form. So what we're going to get into now is what type of class this is. It is a traditional class, yet it is also a blended class. And what this lends to is a new innovative way of learning, which is called Modern Classroom. So me, the teacher, I create videos, one like I'm doing right now, going over what I would have taken maybe 30, 45 minutes in traditional setting to discuss. Now, we all know in this 21st century, it's difficult for people to pay attention for that long, even adults. So what this does is allow the teacher the opportunity to pre-record their lessons. The students can watch that lesson. Typically, those lessons take between 7 to 12 minutes, and it should take only about 20 to 25 minutes for the students to write down the information in which he or she needs to learn. Now, from there, we move on to the classwork. Now, this classwork aspect, it can be done in a variety of ways. It just depends on my lesson. So I may do it in a whole group, I may do it individually, or I may do it in small group. This also allows the student to take control of his or her own pace with the unit. And you can only move on when you've mastered this section. Now, all of these units do have deadlines, and we really urge for students not to fall behind. And if they do so, they can always attend Power Hour or just catch up at home because these videos are pre-recorded. So the only time for the most part that the students are on the device is the first 20 minutes or so of class. And from there, we go to pen to paper, or if I have something, let's say like a Nearpod, or just a variety of ways, because I would like to touch all the learning styles, and this lends for that. Now, in order to move on to the next lesson, the student has to show mastery. And we do that in the form of an exit ticket. And an exit ticket is basically a culmination of some things in which they learned throughout that lesson, and they have to show mastery, which is in the form of about 80% or higher. So now this is pretty much the layout. I'm not going to walk you through the whole thing because you have the ability to pause me and read these things for yourself. But it starts out with a do now, then the video plus the notes, and then so forth and so on, which is the classwork, then the exit ticket. So you can read the bullet points for yourself. Go ahead and hit pause and do so. So now that you're back, I know you probably have some questions. So at the end of this video, my email address will be there. And so any questions that you have for me, I really want you to reach out because we're going to be working together a lot this year. And I've always found that students are more successful when the teacher and the parent has a really good working relationship. So just want to go over some ways of how your student can succeed. Of course, follow all the classroom expectations as well as procedures, as well as the Eastern Care expectations. Bring your best every day. Every day is not going to be the greatest day academically, but if you bring your best, I always ask to be 1% better every day. Come to class consistently, be on time. Attendance correlates a lot with academic success. Make sure that you're using your objective calendar to stay on pace. We use this in order to know where the students are, as well it gives the student some responsibility of keeping up with what he or she needs to know. And lastly, always ask for help. One of the things that I am a proponent of is asking for help. The more we collaborate, the more that we learn. And if you are having problems, please attend my Power Hour, which is normally on Tuesdays, but sometimes it's flexible, depending upon my flexibility and my, requirements contractually. So thank you guys for taking the time out your schedules to be a part of your students' academic success and to meet me. My contact info is listed below. I do look to hear from you all, and I look forward to working with everyone this year. Together we make great things happen. Have a good night.